In the heart of Africa, Rwanda is soaring to new heights, aiming to become the continent's premier cargo business hub.
What we've seen with Rwanda is the growth of the cargo revenue stream right through the pandemic as well.
And there is no trade without logistics, without transport, without movement of cargo.
Rwanda is an open country for investors. Now it's well known, and the cargo sector is not left behind. So we still have opportunities in the sector.
This is one of the markets of tomorrow. It is a market today, but it will grow. Every forecast, economical forecast, show the same direction.
This is Invest Rwanda, with a focus on Rwanda's growing potential in the cargo business sector. Although landlocked, Rwanda is land-linked, with cargo to and from the country, traveling through air, road, and also internally through water cargo transport. Cargo into Rwanda comes through two main corridors: the central, linking the Dar es Salaam port to Kigali through Tanzania, and the northern corridor, linking the Mombasa port through Kenya and Uganda to Kigali. Statistics indicate significant growth in volumes of cargo movement and transit time.
For instance, in 2022, Rwanda import through Dar es Salaam was about 1.46 million tons, and that was a 10% increase from the previous year.
In terms of volumes in cargo exports, there were over 46,000 tons of exports in cargo through the Dar es Salaam port, signifying a 39% increase compared to the previous year of 2022. Today, it takes around 4.4 days for cargo to go through Dar es Salaam to Kigali.
And there is a reduction of 1 day, because the previous year it was actually 5.5 days. And if we look at the cargo from Mombasa to Kigali, it will take about 6.9 days to move from Mombasa to Kigali.
Considering the significance of the cargo sector, Rwanda continues to invest heavily in various modes of transport, including paving, upgrading and repairing of its road network.
For example, we have a new road, Base Butaro Kidaho, in the northern area, which links the northern corridor to Rwanda and the DRC, Goma. We have also a new road in Goma Ramiro Bugesera, which also links the central corridor through the southern part of Rwanda to the southwest of Rwanda and the DRC city of Bukavu.
On air transport, the government of Rwanda is investing heavily in its national carrier Rwandair. The airline now links to more than 20 destinations. In November 2022, Rwandair took delivery of its first dedicated cargo aircraft as it looked to expand its cargo operations in Africa and the Middle East.
What we've seen with Rwanda is the growth of the cargo revenue stream right through the pandemic as well. We've been transporting cargo in the belly of our aircrafts, especially the wide-body aircrafts, and we've seen even through the pandemic the volumes growing double digits. We've seen exports in Rwanda shooting up almost over 1,000% between 2017 and now. So there's a great demand for cargo capacity, especially for fresh produce that's being exported from Rwanda. So we export a lot of cut flowers, vegetables, avocados, chilies to the UAE, Brussels and London. So we needed a cargo freighter to supplement our current belly capacity. So that's what informed it. And going forward, we believe cargo will be a very, very strong revenue stream. We're putting a lot of focus on that. As Rwanda, we've just taken over the management of the cargo warehouse here at the airport. So there's a lot of potential, not only with Rwanda, but also for a lot of other airlines in terms of cargo.
Rwanda's infrastructure is evolving rapidly, with modern cargo facilities designed to handle a growing volume of goods. In May 2023, Rwanda and Qatar Airways Cargo announced the opening of the first cargo hub outside of Qatar. The Kigali Africa Hub is part of a long-term strategic plan of Rwanda's national carrier Rwanda and Qatar Airways.
It is a strategic partnership. Africa is a strategic region of the world. This is one of the markets of tomorrow. It is a market today, but it will grow. Every forecast, economical forecast, show the same direction, and we want to be in that market and start serving it and helping it grow. We are helping the growth by connecting Africa with the rest of the world, import and export. So on the import side, we basically facilitate the importation of goods that are good for the economical development of the country. And for exports, our experience as Qatar Airways Cargo, we are the largest cargo airline in the world. Every time we open new routes and new countries with new services, it stimulates the economy to create new opportunities for exports. And I would not be surprised if within a couple of months we start seeing more exports of perishable from Rwanda into the world because of the connectivity.
The government of Rwanda is investing heavily in infrastructure, expansion of the Kigali International Airport, and the development of a comprehensive road network are pivotal steps in positioning Rwanda as a central cargo hub.
We have also under development the new Kigali International Airport, which is under construction, now at 75%. Internally, we have also the Kamembe Airport, which links Kigali Airport and Rwanda, and the city of Bukavu in DRC.
Slated for completion in 2026, the new Kigali International Airport will boast of 130,000 square meter main terminal building, capable of accommodating 8 million passengers a year, a figure expected to rise to more than 14 million in the future, making it one of the busiest aviation hubs in Africa. Adjacent will be a dedicated cargo terminal, capable of accommodating 150,000 tons of cargo annually. Rwanda is not just building an airport, it is building a bridge to opportunities for Africa. Together, taking the flight towards a prosperous future and with no regrets.
As I mentioned, we're seeing a lot of demand, especially on the outbound. We've been focusing a lot on the UAE route with the cargo freighter. We're seeing the volumes before the cargo freighter came in, and now it's grown to the volumes have grown by over 15%. But that's the freighter together with the A330 carrying the produce. So no regrets. We believe that having the capacity, when you build it, they will come. For the exporters, it'll encourage them to produce even more. And for the importers as well, to let them know that we do have a lot of capacity on the freighter, that they should take advantage of that.
Air freight is the interlink and is the connector for Africa. You know, we are in the initiatives of common market, African common market, and one of the drivers of the success of this initiative is the trade. And there is no trade without logistics, without transport, without movement of cargo. Now, the problem was, if I have cargo today here, how do I move it from this place to the other place? That was the question. Now, we have the solution. Cargo can move from China, from India, from wherever the world, into Rwanda, and from Rwanda to other places in Africa. And we can now take the cargo from Lagos, from Johannesburg, tomorrow from Ghana, from West Africa, all the countries, into Rwanda as a hub, and from Rwanda to wherever in the world using the Qatar and Rwanda solution.
Apart from air and road transport, Rwanda is making strides in developing its water transport system.
We have a major Lake Kivu. We have a cargo transport from northwest to southwest, and other smaller lakes, which is transport on a small scale. But on Kivu Lake, the government has also made a strategic decision to invest in major ports, So we have now 4 ports in projects, but the Rubavu port is almost complete, and the Rusizi port is under construction. We have also Karongi and Nora, which is in a planning phase.
In a visionary move that underscores Rwanda's commitment to environmental sustainability and innovation, the country has emerged as a pioneer force in the transition to e-mobility, with significant investment in infrastructure, local manufacturing, and supportive policies.
This includes the tax incentives and other non-fiscal incentives to facilitate green mobility. This include availing chargers for electric vehicles, currently in Kigali, but also the plans to avail the charging infrastructure all across the main road of the northern and central corridor. The other aspect of green mobility or sustainable mobility is looking at natural gas, compressed natural gas, looking at tapping into the available resources, natural gas, methane gas in Lake Kivu, and to provide that as an alternative to diesel for cargo and truck transport. This also is ongoing and has gained momentum, and we hope to get this within a few years to come. This also will help in public buses. We are looking at compressed natural gases, which will also support the existing and increasing fleet of electric buses in Kigali.
In some parts of rural Rwanda, getting produce to market can be difficult at times. Even where paved roads reach, transportation may be unreliable and slow. Farm products are often moved by bicycle. Ox delivers, a clean transport ecosystem that allows farmers to book cargo space on trucks via cell phones, aims at making freight hauling more efficient.
As Ox, one of the reasons that attracted us to really start our business in Rwanda was the attractive business environment. We saw Rwanda as a place where a business can strive, where new ideas actually have a chance for success. And then when we got here, we realized that the typical farmer can usually spend a few days on the road waiting for motorized transport to help them get their goods to market. And this really ends up in losses for their businesses. So we saw Rwanda as the perfect place where we can start a business, have a lot of impact with just giving people affordable motorized transport to help them get their goods to market.
The company has rolled out a fleet of trucks in Rwanda that enables farmers to access distant markets at roughly the same price they would pay for bicycle cargo. 3 years since starting operations in Rwanda, the fleet ran by local Ox Delivers drivers has gone electric.
Rwanda as a business environment is very attractive to electric businesses like ours because of very many incentives. One of them is the EV tariff, which really makes it affordable for a business like ours, which runs on electricity. It really makes it affordable for us to deliver that transport at an affordable rate to people. Not only that, but also most electric vehicles and their components are tax exempt to enter the country, and that also really reduces that capital investment when you're going to start a business. So that is a very encouraging environment to strive in. But something else which we have really seen from the government of Rwanda is the openness to collaborate. So electric trucks is something that was new. We were the first business to introduce this in Rwanda, so it was fairly new to every single government body involved, from customs to regulation and so on and so forth. But we have really seen a lot of collaboration and will to engage with us to make sure that we have the necessary tools we need for our business to strive.
Rwanda continues to position itself as a key player and facilitator of cargo transport in the region. The country has invested heavily in cross-border roads, ensuring that these roads are in good shape and navigable.
And that all facilitates a lot the transit cargo within the region, the East African region. The other aspect is the support of way bridges to ensure that our roads are safe, and our roads and also the roads of neighboring countries are safe and operable, are not damaged by heavyweight trucks. The other aspect where Rwanda has positioned itself as a facilitator in the region is the implementation of one-stop border post. where cargo drivers have a seamless service at the entrance of the country, across the country, and at the exit of the country. Finally, Rwanda is a key player in the regional bodies, that is East African Community, which is general, but also specifically the Northern Corridor and Central Corridor agencies. Rwanda supports and is an active member of those agencies.
The facilitation goes beyond the region, particularly going by the partnership between Rwanda's national carrier Rwandair and Qatar Airways Cargo.
For example, with this project, I will be able to open, as I mentioned earlier, 10 new stations in Africa. And I can only do that if I fly from Kigali. Why? Because if I fly from Doha, those stations, those destinations are not big enough to sustain a full aircraft worth of volumes. So I need to consolidate all those volumes to Kigali, and from here with a smaller aircraft, I can go to 10 different places, delivering 10 smaller pieces of cargo.
We're very excited about this partnership. From an airline perspective, it's fantastic. It'll enable Rwandair to grow into a very strong airline with increased connectivity, superior customer experience for the country. For Rwanda, it will position Rwanda as a strong regional hub. The construction of the new airport is ongoing, where Qatar has majority shareholding. We're excited about that airport as well, because it will really allow the airline to grow.
The country is also at the forefront of not just talking, but walking the talk on ensuring free movement of people, goods and services.
In terms of SATAM, the Single African Air Transport Market, that's really the key in unlocking connectivity within the African continent. It's unfortunate that only 35 countries out of the 54 in the continent are signatories to this. I'm happy that we're starting with the coalition of the willing, so to speak, the ones who are ready to go, the 17. But it is important that we have everybody on board, because without open skies, if we continue operating with these restrictive bilateral air service agreements that we have, we'll never get to where we need to get to in terms of aviation in our continent. This is a continent that has a lot of potential. We're talking about 1.4 billion people in the continent, but it accounts for 2% of global aviation, which is a shame. And given the fact that road connectivity is really difficult for a lot of countries, and there's very limited rail transport, aviation is really the answer. And again, in the context of the African Continental Free Trade Area, it's really imperative that we remove all these barriers so that we can easily connect our countries and give our citizens an opportunity to move across different countries. Yeah. But to that end, it's not only about open skies. You can't have open skies and closed borders. So along with the open skies, we also need to see visa regimes changing within the African continent. We've seen what Rwanda has done in terms of allowing nationals of all countries to come into the country and get visa on arrival. We've seen what that has done for the country in terms of tourism, in terms of events and conferences, in terms of sports tourism. So if Rwanda can do it, and other African countries should really move in that direction in order to make aviation an enabler, an economic enabler that it's supposed to be, not a luxury.
Rwanda's openness policy continues to pay dividends not just for Rwandans, but for the region's cargo transport sector.
Openness, now we have a visa-free entry to anyone from Africa, and visa on arrival for the rest of other countries in the world. This really facilitates the movement of people, the movement of cargo, and the business in general. We have also other incentives that help investors, including cargo transport. But also we have focused on our location as the center of Africa to improve or to facilitate the regional connection. For example, we have the dry port in Masaka, which helps act as a port to ease the cargo transport here in Rwanda, as well as in nearby countries, especially as you go further to west and south of the country.
Currently in Rwanda, most of the logistics companies are private, operating their own facilities, equipment, and storage, a testament to how public-private partnerships can contribute to infrastructure funding and management.
So this is a very good approach to work with the private sector. But still, there is a constant need to increase the capacity of the public operators. So there is, with the Ministry of Infrastructure, work with other training institutions like schools, universities, and training centers to ensure that we have available capacity to manage and operate the cargo logistics. Specifically, Rwanda, in collaboration with the East African Community, the Central Corridor, and the Northern Corridor, and COMESA, regularly organized training of all parties involved in the logistics of cargo. This included the drivers, we mentioned earlier the eco-driving, and the other logistic operators, including custom agents and the actual cargo transport companies.
For the green mobility space to thrive in Rwanda, we need a lot of investment to back it. As businesses, we have made the original investment. We have started the operation, we have done the proof of concept. A challenge which we're facing right now that could also be a challenge to most people in this ecosystem is now scaling that or growing that to fully meet the demand. And we need a lot of financing options from investors who are willing to share the risk with us and then grow this sector.
In the echo of every truck's engine and the hum of every bustling logistics hub, we hear the heartbeat of a nation that refuses to be defined by tragedy, but rather by triumph. Rwanda's commitment to innovation, efficiency, and sustainability in the cargo transport sector remains admirable.
Freight and the cargo is like egg and chicken. You can't get the cargo unless you have the capacity to lift the cargo. And you can't have the capacity to lift the cargo unless you have the cargo. Okay? So some people wonder what is starting and how do you start to get this together. We have started having both the cargo and the capacity together now. So we have the capacity, we have the cargo now, and we have now the solution, the logistic solution with Qatar, the capacity to lift this 777 plane that is coming has 100-ton capacity. It is going to come 3 times a week, and it's the feeder from Doha, from wherever in the world into Doha to Rwanda, and Rwanda will be dispatching the cargo to other countries in Africa using the 310 plane with the 30-ton, 40-ton. So you understand, it's really important. It's the connector that was missing, and now I think we are good to go.
Mandate is really to support the development of this country, to ensure Rwanda is connected to other African countries and the rest of the world, and to connect Africa to the rest of the world. So that's what we're really focused on. To that end, we are looking at opening up new routes down the road. We have Paris that we're still concluding. We have other routes within the continent, including Maputo, Luanda, Mombasa, Zanzibar. So that will be exciting, and we want to see how we can do that in the most affordable way. And as I mentioned, really how we can ensure that aviation is an economic enabler and not a luxury.
Yes, Rwanda is an open country for investors. Now it's well known, and the cargo sector is not left behind. So we still have opportunities in the sector. This include operating cargo business as whole, logistic companies. There are opportunities to building warehouses, because now we are positioning ourselves as a logistic hub in the region. There are opportunities for warehouses. There are opportunities for roadside stations where you provide basic services like restaurant, like sleeping facilities and health facilities for cargo drivers. So we are open, and we call for investors to come and help in the cargo business.